Hey, what's up? This is Mike from Blood of the Wolf, and today we're going to take another look at some necks I stained. Okay, so it's been about a year since I've stained two necks, and I thought we would take another look at the necks. So let's start with the first neck I stained. This is a Jackson Performer neck. This is the first one I stained. Let me actually grab the camera and get some close-ups of this neck. Okay, so like I said, let's take another look here. It's been about a year. Now this neck has been sitting in my closet unused for about a year. So it was, well, the frets were really dirty. I'll show you a picture of that in a second. So has the stain held up? Yes, it has. Does it come off on your fingers? No, it doesn't. Not really. Not at all. Okay. All right, so what did I do to this neck? All right, let me put this camera back down. Okay, so I mentioned the neck's been sitting in my closet for about a year. So what I did is I wanted to test a couple of things out on the neck before I did it to my King V reverse neck. Okay, so one thing I did with this neck is I hit it with some steel wool, a steel wool pad, one of these. The reason I did that is because I sanded this neck to 320 and it's not like it felt rough because it's like when you're playing guitar, it's not like your fingers are touching the strings. It's not like you're touching the actual fretboard. But I hit it with this and that didn't hurt the stain at all, okay? It was just fine. Also, I wanted to clean up the frets. I also tried some of this fingerboard cleaner and prep this is Dunlop fingerboard cleaner and prep. I hit the fretboard with this just to see what would happen. And nothing happened. Didn't hurt the stain or dye. Okay? In fact, here is the cloth that I used for the cleaner. And, I mean, yeah, it's dirty. It's dirty, but it's not like it took the whole stain off of the fretboard. Not even close. Not even close at all. Okay. After that, I used the F1 oil from Music Nomad. This is the fretboard oil I use on all my guitars. And when I wiped that off, okay, that I got, you can see here, a little bit has come off, but not barely noticeable. I mean, you can still, I'll grab the camera and we'll do another close-up here, but it's fine. The frets, now, again, I don't know if this was because it was sitting in my closet for a year, unused, so there could just be like some, I don't know, dust, oxidation, you know. When you leave metal shit around for a long time without using it, it gets tarnished. There we go, that's the word I was looking for, tarnished. So I had to clean off the frets, or this could be from the black stain too. The frets were really dirty. So here's one, and then here's another one I didn't do. So that's how dirty the frets were. That might be from the stain or tarnish. That could also be the reason for this black spot on the oil rag, the fretboard oil rag, is because of the frets were that dirty. So, something to keep in mind. After you stain, make sure you clean the frets really, really, really well. Because, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the King V reverse and I'm going to give it a fresh setup. I'm going to hit the fretboard with the steel wool. Okay, so here's the King V reverse neck. And I just took it off the wall and took the strings off of it. Okay, so now with the strings off, you can clearly see those spots that I was talking about. Now the steel wool helped with this, at least on the Performer neck. So I'm hoping it'll help here too. So I'm going to hit it with the steel wool, and then we'll come back and take another look. Okay, I hit it with the steel wool, and you can see that that made quite a difference. Took those spots off like immediately. Okay, here it is oiled up. I cleaned off the frets. Ignore that spot, that's just a handprint while I was cleaning the wax off the body. Alright, so one thing in this light that I noticed is you can still see some of the grain behind this. And I think hitting this with the steel wool did take a little bit of the black finish off, like right there. So I'm very close to the guitar. I'm like a finger's distance away. So however long my finger is, maybe like 3 inches, 2.5 inches, something like that. Okay. That's after hitting it with the steel wool and then oiling the fretboard. You can see some of the grain through the wood, which I think is actually kind of nice. Okay, here it is all finished up. Strings are on, neck's oiled, frets are cleaned. Real quick here, this is the F1 oil, the rag, and some of the stain did come off onto the rag, you can see right there. And the frets were really dirty, but I think I threw out. So yeah, it does look like some of the stain will come off over time. Let's take a look at some of the other guitars though and see how it compares. Okay, so on the bottom is the neck that's been stained, and on the top is my King V KVXMG. It's got a really light rosewood fretboard, but the one below it was pretty light too. So you can see quite a difference between the two. So even though some of the stain does seem to be coming off with the oil in the steel wool, it's still very much darker. And now that it's not like sitting in direct sunlight, it's really hard to see those areas where the rosewood is showing up. So I do not regret doing this at all. In fact, I'm thinking about doing it to some more of my guitars, but I'm just thinking about how to make my sanding process better, because that seems to be the biggest thing. But yeah, it looks, I mean, I think it still looks cool. Let's see if we can get both the guitars in the shot so you can see, like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. So yeah, if you're thinking about staining a neck, do it. Do it. Just a couple things to keep in mind. The sanding takes forever, so be patient with the sanding. And do your research and pick a good stain.